What is it about this woman that the UFC loves so much? Mackenzie Dern has been able to stay in rankings at this point for years now by being gifted an audience in specific fights. She gets PR placement that is completely irrational and downright insulting at times. If you are subscribed to this channel, then you already know that I have called out her entire career and gave a detailed timeline for the evidence. Unfortunately, I was on the road headed back home when I recorded it in an earpiece. That detailed timeline didn't provide links or any real visuals. Well, lucky for you crazy f***s, I'm going back into what I call the most transparent and obvious push to ever exist in the UFC. In one upload, I called out the ridiculous placement of Spud Mackenzie on the ESPN marquee for the promotion of the UFC. Run it. Sign up now and catch your favorite UFC all-time greats, including Israel Adesanya, Wiley Zhang, Brandon Moreno, Conor McGregor, and Mackenzie Dern. The f*** is this shit? Dern is nowhere close to that lineup. Putting her there with Jones, Zhang, and Conor is equivalent to putting up like Tracy Cortez or Dan Hooker. Spud is just a jiu-jitsu Jedi in my opinion, and she did in fact make somewhat of a splash prior to signing with the UFC, but this woman's splash was more of a social media splash due to her choice to wear skimpy chonies at weigh-ins and her bikini post while living it up in Mimosaville.
I've had 6 fights with MMA Lab. I was expecting to go all the way to the belt with the lab, you know, so it's a surprise for me after my MMA debut to get the news that I wasn't on the team anymore. But like the first 2 days, I was kind of like, oh man, you know, how is this gonna be? And I was already training with people in California. I was spending half my camps, half the week in California, half the week in Arizona. So I was already training with people in California when I was there, like striking stuff. So when I went to California, like 2 days later, man, it was so easy. Like they just received me with open arms, and people like was on the no, we're gonna do this. They made like a camp so organized for me. Ended up being like perfect. So, and even better was that I was able to have like that balanced lifestyle that I like to have. You know, was able to like enjoy my camp on the beach. You know, with friends, like a lot of friends from Brazil that are down there. Like, you know, good people on the beach. You know, like the lifestyle I like. You know, to.
The citizens of Mimosaville always fall off. Valerie Lareda and Paulo Costa are 2 more citizens of this fictional wonderland I've created to place fighters in that just want fame over combat sports greatness. Dylan Dennis is also a resident, while John Jones just might be the mayor. And though sometimes they try to come back and balance it all out while remaining a resident of this modern-day Gomorrah I've created, oh, Spuddy is doing her best to let us know she has moved out of Mimosaville and is only interested in being champion. So how did it all start? She got on Dana's radar, and he was already pondering if she was the next Ronda Rousey. Now, they were both grapplers before signing with the UFC, true, I'll give them that, but Mackenzie wasn't making headlines due to winning BJJ tournaments and certainly not being an Olympian, no. Mac Dern turned eyes when fabrics were removed for certain weigh-ins and Instagram posts. I guess Mr. White noticed a certain marketability in her. Plus, she was, in fact, a jiu-jitsu champion many times over. My point is, Mackenzie Dern and Ronda Rousey are nothing alike. They never were, and they never will be.
And no one gives a shit about me anymore without this. And to be honest, I looked up and I saw my man, Travis, was standing there, and I was looking up at him, and I was just like, I need to have his babies. I need to stay alive.
If you feel I'm being a bit hard on Mac right now, know this. I don't have a personal issue with her. My problem with Mackenzie Dern is the story and how she has been pushed in our f***ing faces. Much like WWE's Roman Reigns for like 5 years. That's a good comparison in my opinion, and we'll return to it. Anyway, Dern, much like Dylan Dennis, was invited to leave the gym she was training with prior to her fight with Amanda Bobby-Brundage, formerly known as Amanda Cooper. This fight, by the way, is where my acceptance of Spud Mackenzie as an elite fighter, or a fair fighter for that matter, went to zero. I haven't let off the gas since then, and I will remind the world of this farce every chance I get. Anyways, Dern disclosed in an interview before this fight that she was invited to leave because
like that balanced lifestyle that I like to have, you know, was able to like enjoy my camp on the beach, you know, with friends, like a lot of friends from Brazil that are down there, like.
What Mackenzie is saying is that she wanted the Heine things in life alongside the title of being a UFC fighter. She wanted to party. She wanted to be sexy for the cameras and tan in the beaches of Mimosaville. What she is saying is she would miss training days so she could be on her Heine shit. Hello, red flag. Dern came across at this time as if she grew up in a world where she received nothing but praise and she could do no wrong. This reminds me a whole lot about Valerie Lareda, and yes, I will be bringing up Valerie Lareda at least one more time in this video. I think she actually believed she could be a McHeina with extra cheese and coast her ass to the top of the division. For most, that just doesn't work, but for Mackenzie, here you go, doors wide open. So, Spuddy gets kicked out of her gym because she's trying to be a sexy starlet while promoting jiu-jitsu and MMA. If you still have doubts, let's not forget that when it came time to weigh in for this fight, she missed it by an entire fucking division. 7 pounds to be exact, or 7.2, something along those lines. Anyway, her PR team worked overtime, much like Barstool for Patty Pimblett and Molly McCann.
How high is Patty Pimblett's ceiling to you after what we saw Saturday night?
How did anyone think he won that fight?
Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone.
So, as fighters, it's not our job to decide who wins and loses. Yeah. Obviously, our job is to go win. But if somebody tells me somebody has 6.5 minutes of control time on me, I would, in my own position, wonder, okay, yeah, maybe I could see how you would think that the other person won. You don't see that at all from any others.
No. Like Ariel Helwani in particular, like he loves earning money off fighters. Yeah. Like every decent job he's had, he's been sacked from. You know what I mean? Like, and now he's just a biased content creator. Yeah. You know what I mean? 100%. And he hates on you, hates on the UFC, he even hates on me now. Yeah. And it proper annoys me because he uses fighters for clicks.
The cage is side by side with Patty Pimblett. And she loses once and she wants to quit. She lost to Erin Blanchfield. Everybody's going to lose to Erin Blanchfield. You know what I mean?
To coach her on how to handle it. Her apology wasn't sincere, and when asked about what Amanda Bobby-Brundage, formerly Cooper, had to say about it, she says she's gonna keep it professional. What do you mean? It's amateur hour when it comes to weigh-ins, but when it comes to replying of a legit accusation that turned out to be true, you're gonna keep it professional. Even in 2022, she was still trying to play victim to her failed weight cut, calling it trauma. What? How about Amanda Cooper and her trauma? Oh my goodness, these red tape words used so very often by her. Whoever is working with her also works with people in Hollywood. There's no doubt about it. Her manager is brilliant. Gotta give it to him. Amanda made a terrible mistake by accepting the fight anyway. Dern submits her like it's nothing, looking nothing like a fighter as far as optics go, then celebrated like it was the roughest and most elite fight of all time. Remember, Matt Dern wasn't even showing up to all of her gym sessions. She wanted to stay up past curfew in Mimosaville. The weight cut for this fight was the result.
She was talking about this. Everyone's like in your face and you're going to be a star and you can do a lot of big things. She looks like she got a little bit red-pilled on it after everything that happened. But let's go back. Dern missed weight by a complete another division against Amanda Bobby-Brundage or Amanda Cooper, right? She did not give a fuck until like way after the fight. PR cleanup. The only people that I ever saw call it out was me and Dominic Cruz.
On point 2, maybe even a pound, I'll give you somewhat of a pass, but 7 pounds almost seems intentional. It almost seems as a game plan. It almost seems as intelligent.
Are you surprised Amanda accepted the fight?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. She got 30% of the purse, which was like my penalty. Usually it's like 20%, but because I was so much heavier, it goes up to 30%. And I think she was confident in the fight. I think she thought she was gonna win and everything. So if I was confident in the fight and I'm getting 30%, and we're giving 15% extra too. If I was to win, to be close 15% extra too. So I would accept the fight too. So I wasn't surprised. I know she wanted to fight and everything. So I don't know if she knows, but I wasn't surprised she accepted the fight. I imagine she would accept. I was hoping she would. I was really grateful that she accepted the fight.
So just to be clear, you're giving her 45%. You're giving her 30 plus 15.
Yes, 30% of my show money, which is like commission, like the UFC, I think, or like that everyone has to do if they miss a weight. Yeah. And then between us together, like just between the fighters, we did a negotiation to have the fight happen. 15% if I would win of my purse. So
is it 15% of your entire purse or 15% of your win bonus?
I think it's 15% of my win bonus.
Okay.
So Mackenzie and her team did a negotiation outside of the UFC with Amanda Cooper, now known as Bobby-Brundage, to give her an extra 15% if she were to lose via finish, win bonus, right? So they incentivized Amanda Cooper because Amanda would be getting more money if she took that loss. She would get her show money plus a 15% of a bonus win and 30% of Mackenzie's purse to begin with. Hey Dana, I got some questions. Mackenzie was so desperate to fight in Rio that she fucking bribed Amanda Bobby-Brundage into taking the fight? And no one ever said anything about this?
We're going to pay your team more money if you just pass tonight, don't run. Because we need the Patriots to win and make it to the next level. That's fucking illegal.
Dern was Project Marina Rodriguez, or just Marina Rodriguez, and even though I believe she would fare better in a rematch, the expose of Dern's terrible stand-up at the time cannot be ignored, and there is a valid reason for it not being so. This was where it all came together for me. Dern intentionally missing weight for her fight against Amanda Cooper, now Bobby-Brundage, unfortunately, I have to say in my and Dominic Cruz's opinion, alongside 4 layup matches afterward, yes, I'm including Virna Jandra fucking Boba, and being outclassed by a valid opponent at the time in Rodriguez clearly shows that when it comes to MMA, Mackenzie Dern has been amateur hour this entire time. Ooh, I know Dern's friends, family, and stans are getting real heated at me right about now because she doesn't have MMA fans. Let's be real. She has guys that think she's hot. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's keep it a buck. She has the wide-eyed Hollywood preferred look these days, and for whatever reason, MMA dudes seem to like it.
Yeah. Weird.
But she doesn't have MMA fans. No! This woman has been strapped with a rocket that never runs out of gas via the machine that is the UFC. Everyone's favorite or most hated depending on who you're speaking to, MMA media hype member Luke Thomas has expertly broken down her jiu-jitsu game and how it translates into MMA, causing the holes that I keep pointing out. I have watched this twice. And there isn't a fight Dern has had that I haven't seen at least 3 times. I watched the Angela Hill fight 5 times so far. Dern is a subpar MMA fighter learning in real time. Period. And I can hear the freaks now. Brayden, you don't know anything. Dern looked great against Hill and her striking is improving. Yeah, I'll get to that. For now, shut your crybaby ass up. She couldn't even take out Amanda Hebas. She went in unloading a bunch of whiffed strikes and Amanda settled in and beat her ass. Fast forward past the invitation to get the fuck out of the gym and move to Cali. The Mimosaville resident missing weight and the fraud checks that came with Amanda Hebas and Marina Rodriguez or Marina Rodriguez to her fight with Tesha Torres. LMAO or LMAO, dude. Oh God. This irritated me on a Molly McCann grabbing the belt and marching around level. Tesha Torres won that fucking fight. Look. Fucking give me layup to Mackenzie Dern to keep her amateur ass relevant. She'd have a 3-fight skid prior to Angela Hill if the judges weren't fucking paid to keep her relevant. You don't have to look at the stats. Go watch the fight. We all knew she lost. Then this woman decides to pull a Israel Moreno Kamaru move by pulling in her fucking family into the octagon like this fight was a game changer for her career. It was a flotation device for her, and that is what it is. She lost this fight. 3 failed sub attempts doesn't balance out the strike differential. Yes, I'm using the correct scoring criteria and I know what the I'm talking about. Again, Dern's manager and team are brilliant. Every fucking fight she has had in the UFC has been on the main card. Dude, I don't give a fuck what you say. It is not because she is so good at MMA. You think she's hot and sexy. Fine, but this isn't fucking OnlyFans or fucking TikTok.
Not your fucking country clubs or your fucking TV shows. And what the fuck are you doing on TV anyhow?
Dern doesn't deserve a title shot based off how many people think she's pretty or how many followers she has. It's time to be real. Just admit what this is and we're good. Moving on. Jan beats the shit out of Dern. The judges got it right this go round, but then she gets rewarded with a fucking main event. Granted, the original main event fell out fine. Dern was ranked number 8 and Angela Hill was ranked number 14. 14! That's how far they had to go down to find something suitable for her without hurting their baby dolls. Michelle Watterson, Tabitha Ricci, etc. Idiots will say she looked great. Of course she did. For 2 reasons. Angela Hill didn't do a fucking thing in that fight, looked older than what she actually is, and Mackenzie was desperate. Yes, she was. The last 3 fights for Dern have been must win. She lost to Jan, but she got saved by the Hill booking. Hill had no kind of volume whatsoever outside of round 2. I will give Mackenzie credit in the sense that she broke Angela Hill in that fight. And obviously she's game to get into it, to get a little scrappy. Her ground and pound only looked good because of how desperate she was for that win. Dude, I'm telling you, it was like a revenge kill for her. It wasn't just muscle memory, fight IQ. Let's be real here. Let's be real. And her fucking team knew she still looked like shit on the feet, and with adrenaline pumping through to desperation, combined with almost 0 effort from Hill, she looked dominant. Again, Hill was ranked number 14. To be fair, Dern should not have been ranked at number 8 in my opinion, so I'll at least give her that. So how do we make the public forget all this nonsense?
And I see all like the so-called experts and shit. Oh yeah, you just got her weight under control. Yeah, dude, of course she fucking does. For a couple of reasons. And I'll get to that in a minute. She did not give a dude. She did not give a of taking that opportunity from Amanda Cooper. No, it was all about Mackenzie goddamn Dern and her brand expansion, right? Let's just get this one out of the way, get this victory over, and then we can focus on, cutting weight. You gotta leave Mimosaville, Mackenzie. You gotta stop fucking around with Mimosaville.
I waited to speak on this as the subject is no laughing matter, but now that Wesley Santos has spoken on it and a few more details came out, gotta say I'm not buying it. Mackenzie pivoted from a layup win to poor me and violence. Wesley Santos does not look like a dude that can beat up Mackenzie Dern. Sorry, he doesn't. Mackenzie is a pro MMA fighter, alright? She'd fuck me up, she'd fuck you up, and she'd fuck up the Surfer Boy ex-hubby. No doubt in my mind. That dude wouldn't stand a chance if they went toe-to-toe. Of course, I'll concede anything is possible, but this motherfucker just smiles ear to ear all the time just like she does. Doors slamming on a leg accidentally and some chucked phones is not what she was trying to portray. She was acting like she was getting slapped around at home, and MMA news and YouTubers decided to be disgusting as fuck and use her black eye from the fight with Angela as a visual along with the idea she was going through this. By the way, all of you that did that, you should be ashamed of yourself. Now, breakups suck. I don't wish it upon anybody. My parents weren't together, and my father was a womanizer, and for me, it's a subject I take seriously. So, in IRL terms, I do feel for Mackenzie going through any form of breakup or having her daughter have to see her parents split, but that does not make you an elite MMA fighter or worthy of your ranking or card placement. Another side note, Ariel brought up her voice had changed. I caught that as well. Now, I'm not saying Dern is doing the gear, but if Dern is doing the gear, Dern, give me the gear. To all saying that this chick is improving, well, no shit. But it isn't fair that she gets to basically learn the rules of MMA and how a MMA fight is actually different from a jiu-jitsu match while being ranked in the top 10 and being fed subpar, suffering, or lacking fighters to keep looking good. Also, her PR team again. This chick was front and center for the maximum camera time at the Zhang Limoges fight. As if she is this big star and she's just next up. Dude, Dern has the charisma of Uriah Hall. She smiles and that's it. I'll give it to her that she has nice teeth. I wish my teeth were a bit better, but damn, man. Nothing about her screams elite fighter. Elite jiu-jitsu practitioner? Absolutely. Watching her BJJ tournaments and schooling UFC opponents on the ground is quite mesmerizing, in my opinion. In that field, I think she almost can't be touched by anyone on the fucking roster, man or woman. But that's not enough for the push she has gotten. Dern is frequently being a victim about something, her weight miss against Amanda turned into trauma for some reason. Now, Dern gets another layup when her next opponent, Jessica Andrade.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Jessica Andrade looked better than ever against Lauren Murphy, but that was 4 fights ago and eerily similar to the Dern versus Hill fight. You see, Murphy and Hill didn't do anything for those fights, and it inflated the dominance for their opponents. Since then, Andrade has fallen off a cliff. For me, it's for obvious reasons. It pisses me off that I'm the only fucking person that realizes the issue and making a video about it. MMA media hype members and MMA YouTubers just keep asking the same question. What's wrong with Andrade? Why is she fighting at such a high clip? I was going to have an expanded video on Andrade alongside foot image distributor Felice Herrig and Mimosaville resident Paige Van Sant in my only fighter series, but my exposé on Jeff Molina and Valerie Loretta or Lola Vice has largely been ignored. For those unaware, Jessica Andrade had an OnlyFans where she distributed adult content. Now, before anyone races to find leaked images or videos that were unaware of it, I think it's important to understand why she did it. Life is so crazy sometimes that you'd never think an elite fighter and champion like Andrade would have to do it for money. You see, Andrade had a wife, and this scuzz bucket gassed up Andrade to trust her with everything financial. The OnlyFans came up after her wife suggested it, with a little nudge from her coach or master, but for different purposes. Looking back, I'd say it's a safe assumption that wifey was spending all the elite champion bonus money and saw more money was going out than in. So her bright idea was to put the breadwinner of this ill-fated tag team on OnlyFans in an attempt to cover the money loss. It's as easy as wearing nothing, and you too could be a millionaire within a few months. Very few creators make anything off of OnlyFans to begin with. The Publica ran by Jeremy, or the Quartering, at least halfway, ran an article and in their report contained a survey that showed most of these dorks make about $151 per month. Not bashing, it's more than I make on YouTube. What? No way, Bella Thorne made $1 million in 24 fucking hours, and I can't even borrow $1.
Hey, give me $1, okay?
What?
You got a Benz, I got a busket, give me $1.
A busket? Give me the busket.
No!
Long story short, it didn't work. All it did was embarrass Jessica. It also resurrected some childhood trauma. And I quote,
My God, what am I doing with my life? How can I do this? People look at me and say, how can a 30-year-old not be able to say no? I can't explain why I couldn't. A lot of things influenced me. My childhood trauma. People would tell me, you can do this. Just don't tell mommy or daddy. I felt trapped inside, that I couldn't say no.
Now, bringing up this trauma in this interview, in this context, in this translation, is a different level than Mackenzie talking about trauma from her missing weight against Amanda Cooper, now known as Bobby-Brundage. Also, this quote is so dark and disturbing for me. It was literally difficult for me to read without wincing the first time I went over it. Though translation could impact what she is actually saying, here she says, people would tell me, and not just some one person. I'm interpreting that as Andrade's childhood being full of pure demons. Nobody should be treated that way. Considering she was sharing this with the world, the OnlyFans story is completely believable. And Jessica goes on, and I quote,
My master came up to me and said, another one of your videos leaked. Doing something I thought, God, I can't believe Jessica is doing that. When he told me that, I couldn't stop crying. I cried for about 2 days, thinking, my God, what am I doing with my life? I didn't know the person who was handling my money. The person would tell me, leave it to me and I'll take care of it. You'll have no problems. I'm really good at working with this. It's because of my ex-marriage. She managed everything. She handled the money, then the money ran out. She didn't want to accept that we had no money left, that she was going to have to work for a living. When you're in the United States, you either work or you're screwed.
The UFC did her a solid, but didn't. Her new contract, which I believe was done late 2021 or January 2022, going by this timeline, had her see almost 3 times the pay than the previous contract. This was, according to her, paid up front. Damn. In my mind, I'm thinking that would leave Andrade looking for bonus money. Do you follow? Jessica got paid up front to save her ass from bankruptcy and losing only God knows what due to her ex's mismanagement of the finances plus the divorce itself. Who knows how guilty Jessica actually is in the spending expenditures anyway? She does have a gigantic ass wolf tattoo in between, I think, Lauren Murphy and Erin Blanchfield, or Yan Xiaonan and Tatiana Suarez. Either way, that's a big ass tattoo. Anyway, a little money in savings with most debt cleared. Let's rush this year and catch up. Do you now see how Jessica Andrade fell off a cliff? While it's hard to say whether she's been looking for fight bonuses in her last 3 or if she's just trying to clear fights out of her contract, I'm going with bonus hunting. Either way, this situation would leave any pro athlete, especially one of UFC caliber, distracted and not mentally on point. Combine this with being fed to absolute monster competition 3 times in a row within 1 year, and you end up in a position where being a champion is an almost impossible focus. But if you ask me, this is a real gamble for the UFC. Mackenzie is being given a perfect scenario once again, and once again she is in a must-win situation. I imagine this is on the main card come November 11th, yet another main card placement for her. See, they are clever. The Ultimate Fighting Championship. Andrade is also on the main card if Dern is, so they are doing her a solid too, right? Right?
You're so look at that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Fucked. Oh my God. Fucked. You're so fucked.
No.
Look at me.
Oh, you're. No, I'm alright. No, I'm alright. I'm fine. I'm right. I feel fine. Yeah. A little bit tired. I'm alright.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning. Morning. Nurse.
Nurse.
I need a piss pot.
I need a piss pot and a pan.
And a brush.
And a brush. And a doctor.
And some Haagen-Dazs.
And some...
and a hoe. Fuck it, bring me a hoe.
Bring me all that shit.
We gonna eat tonight.
I need a normal doctor. Because I'm fucked. I'm fucked.
On the feed, it's hard to explain. Dern seems to be mentally reviewing training sessions step by step for each strike. She plants her lead foot into the ground in almost a robotic robotic way. Everything in the back almost looks like she's reaching to be pulled back into a reset. If this isn't happening, it's her closing distance with a foolish reset in between distance gained and resetting the feet. Like she almost wants to do a hop and shake the shoulders loose real quick. Dern is like Ronda in another way. She is getting gassed big time on her striking, and in certain moments, especially in the Angela Hill fight, you can see her kind of feeling herself. But Dern doesn't have the fluidity needed. Dern has good ground and pound because of how she puts everything into those strikes. It's not so much technique. Now, of course, she can get better, and I do expect her to get better. I also think she gets too excited in her hot moments. Mac hasn't found a balance for jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Something else worth a note, she couldn't finish Hill with all the screaming and all the power striking while on the ground. It won't be as easy to reach mount and just rain elbows and devastating strikes against other fighters at the top, though Jessica may be an exception and catch that fade. And yes, I'm aware she has visited Henry Cejudo, and I imagine she's a good listener and understands what she has taught to her. But I don't think Mac Dern has the athletic ability that a Davidson Figueiredo or Weili Zhang has to go out there and show new wrinkles advanced enough to take out top talent. In other words, I just don't think she's as athletic, naturally athletic as them, which is causing the problem in her striking. Again, my opinion. Mackenzie's chin is out far too often, and she's been timed on several occasions. True top fighters will find that chin and will humble her in striking. It's quite possible Jessica finds her chin, and if she does, she will be hit like she never has before in a UFC fight. Mackenzie is going to throw wild punches in attempts to get close and get it to the ground. Get in, get a hip toss. I would imagine Jessica and her team will have this scouted, but Jessica really isn't any better when it comes to this strat. It really depends where her headspace is, Andrade. And I don't think she's coming in motivated to win, but motivated to get paid. Jessica may be bonus hunting given her situation. I would not be surprised if she is racing to fight out her contract, maybe re-sign in hopes of more upfront money before her fights, or if she is thinking to go to BKFC or some other quick pay BS just to get her life back in order going forward. This kind of fight is where you would likely see a double KO if you were to ever see one on such a platform. I think Dern will use knees to counter Jessica's flurries. I believe the knee she hit Hill with was trained ever since the Torres fight, and I will give it to Mackenzie, that was a beautiful knee. Probably one of her best strikes, if not her best strike of her entire career. If Dern tries to stand and box with Andrade, she is very likely going to get knocked out. Dern puts her entire body into almost every strike, but she still struggles to finish an opponent with them hands. Now, of course, between Angela Hill and coming up in her fight with Jessica, we could see improvements. Maybe Dern tries to be more patient instead of fighting so emotionally. Maybe she doesn't have that fire that she had against Hill because she was going through bad times IRL. But if Dern goes in there and shows power with hands to finish Andrade on the feet, just that one improvement would make her the most dangerous fighter in the division. It's crazy how this could get flipped upside down. And I have said from the beginning, by the time she fights for a title, Mackenzie's probably going to be elite. Remember?
And upper rank too. Upper rank. And she's gonna go up 1 or 2 more before the end of the fucking year. She'll be in the top 5 before the end of the fucking year. What kind of sense does that make? You talk about failing upwards, dude. My fucking God.
Anyway, I think Dern will use knees to counter Jessica's flurries, so it's also a reality that Dern, with sloppy Betch Correa-esque boxing, or newfound elite timing and fluidity, will look better than ever, and the commentators will throw all the flowers from the local florist at her feet. Erin Blanchfield had some struggle getting Andrade down in round 1, and Mackenzie is nowhere near the level of Erin when it comes to wrestling, or striking, in my opinion, at least going off her last 3 fights. Both of them, Dern, Andrade, like to waddle in like a penguin in order to get close, but usually Andrade is doing it for a power right as opposed to hip toss and take it to the ground. The penguin waddle entry is what cost Jessica that fight, and I believe it is the biggest weakness for both of them in this fight. She did it against Yan Xiaonan as well, and double left hook is what cost her in that fight. I think she went for it 4 in a row. Jessica is a bit in love with that move, and she should drop it for the time being. It's too readable. The commentators fluffed it, but Andrade looked terrible in that fight. I can see Dern knocking her out if she does something like like this. Dern uses all of her body for her punches, and Jessica's chin is a slight bit more of a concern these days. I said Erin had problems taking Andrade down in round 1, but Tatiana had no issue taking her down in round 1 with a subpar takedown attempt. But Andrade appeared to be more patient and attempted to settle into this fight as opposed to her 2 before. It showed in her striking as well. She didn't throw a ton in that Suarez fight. I think leg kicks would benefit her in this fight with Mackenzie Dern, as Mackenzie Dern isn't the best at checking leg kicks. In the video with Henry Cejudo, I did see her getting some reps in with that, but you can only squeeze so much in a fight camp. The glaring caveat in this fight for me is the dark 800-pound gorilla cloud that hangs over Jessica's head. Andrade doesn't have the support system, the fanfare, social media following, or open doors that Mackenzie Dern does. She is loved by the UFC, but she isn't one of their baby dolls. Some will say the UFC did her a solid, and in one way it is true, but in reality they saw an opportunity to use a name to push up other fighters. I get Blanchfield, Xiaonan, and Suarez, but now that Andrade is on a 3-fight skid, it's fitting for Dern, coming off a win. Unreal, the best win of her fucking career, by the way, while Jessica's most recent loss that she's coming off with might be her worst. Dern has been in the top 5 and no lower than number 8 since she fought Amanda Cooper, now known as Bobby-Brundage. That's unacceptable, and that's my problem with the booking. Andrade is on a 3-fight losing streak, while Mackenzie is doing YouTube videos with Henry Cejudo and surrounded by praise, coming off her best win since she jumped on the roster against a 38-year-old ranked number 14 that did nothing in their fight. This isn't Dern's fault at all, but this booking is just wrong. I stated she could be elite by the time she fights for a title, and I still think that, because she's getting every advantage a fighter could have, and she is in fact getting better fight by fight. They tried to do this with Patty Pimblett, and everyone saw why it wasn't going to work, so Patty needs more time. Mackenzie can't take the fucking rocket off. They made her that way, but her talents haven't caught up to her popularity yet. So they gotta fucking figure this out for her. Dern gets the layups, the camera time, the posting social media thirst traps, and red tape words that make general audiences sympathize with her. Jessica Andrade doesn't even speak English. And yes, it's true. I would be singing praises if this fight were booked after the Dern-Hill fight and Andrade-Murphy fight. I'd be expecting fireworks. Jessica is not to be all the way counted out and would derail the fuck out of a hype train like no other if she knocked out Dern. If she submitted her, she would turn the MMA community inside out and likely be looking directly at a title shot. I also believe it's safe to say that Jessica needs this more than Mackenzie. I guarantee if Dern loses, she will go on camera and talk about something else that makes us feel for her. Then everyone will forget about it and she'll get another well-suited fight. But who? Everyone around her is a bad matchup. I'd guess Amanda Lemos. How the fuck is Rose still in strawweight rankings at number 2? This shit is a sham. Andrade, number 6 in 2 divisions on a 3-fight losing streak. And Rose just moved up and lost to Filet Mignon, not in the rankings of the division, but holds a ranking in strawweight at number 2.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.